March 11th, 2016, Broward County, Florida. A teenager sits in the front seat of a parked Honda Civic, scrolling through SoundCloud with half a Xanax bar dissolving under his tongue. He doesn't remember how many he already took. Outside, the parking lot is completely silent. Inside the car, time starts slowing down. This is how Xanax quietly took over a generation. The drug was never supposed to become this big. Xanax was designed for anxiety, panic attacks, short bursts of fear. In 1981, the pharmaceutical company Upjohn released alprazolam to the American market under the brand name Xanax. It belonged to a class of drugs called benzodiazepines, medications that slow activity in the brain and nervous system. Earlier drugs in the same family already existed: Valium, Klonopin, Ativan. But Xanax was different. It worked fast, very fast. Within an hour, users often felt calmer. Their thoughts slowed down, muscles relaxed, panic disappeared. For doctors, this looked revolutionary. Anxiety disorders were common and increasing. Xanax became one of the most prescribed psychiatric drugs in America. But the drug carried a hidden problem. Xanax leaves the bloodstream relatively quickly, faster than many other benzodiazepines. That sounds harmless until you understand what it does to the brain. As the effects wear off, anxiety often rebounds harder than before. Users feel the need to take another dose sooner. Relief becomes temporary. Dependence forms quietly. By the late 1990s, prescriptions were exploding across the United States. Millions of Americans were taking Xanax daily, some legally, some recreationally. Entire medicine cabinets became supply depots for schools and neighborhoods. Then the internet arrived. Online forums spread information faster than doctors could control it. Teenagers learned which pills got you high, which combinations intensified the effects, which doses made you black out. Xanax developed a reputation that separated it from most prescription drugs. It wasn't just medicine anymore. It became an escape button. Users described the feeling the same way over and over. Everything goes quiet. Stress disappears. Fear disappears. Shame disappears. For people dealing with anxiety, trauma, depression, or isolation, and the effect could feel life-changing. But Xanax also damaged memory formation. Users often remained awake and functional while their brains stopped recording events properly. Entire conversations vanished. Entire nights disappeared. People drove cars with no memory of driving them, sent texts they never remembered typing, committed crimes they barely recalled the next morning. This state became known online as blacking out. Entire compilations of blackout behavior spread across YouTube and social media during the early 2000s. Teenagers filmed their friends slurring words, falling over furniture, shoplifting, crashing cars, or wandering through parking lots barely conscious. Many treated it like comedy. The culture around Xanax grew rapidly because it blended perfectly with the internet era. It was cheap, small, easy to hide, easy to photograph. Pill bottles and rectangular bars flooded Instagram and Tumblr posts. Rap lyrics started mentioning Xanax constantly. At first it appeared occasionally, then everywhere. By the mid-2000s, the drug had become deeply tied to online youth culture and modern hip-hop. Artists described using Xanax to numb themselves before performances, after breakups, during depression, or simply to function day to day. The image spread faster than public health warnings ever could. But something else was happening underneath the surface. Counterfeit pills were flooding America. Real Xanax requires a prescription and pharmaceutical manufacturing. Fake Xanax only requires a pill press and chemicals. Criminal organizations realized demand was enormous. Counterfeit bars began appearing across the United States. Many looked nearly identical to genuine pills, same shape, same color, same markings. But inside, the contents varied wildly. Some counterfeit bars contained extremely high doses of alprazolam. Others contained entirely different substances. Increasingly, they contained fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid roughly 50 times stronger than heroin. Tiny amounts can stop breathing within minutes. Users who thought they were buying Xanax were suddenly overdosing on opioids instead. Deaths surged. Emergency rooms across the country reported spikes in benzodiazepine overdoses, especially when combined with alcohol or opioids. That combination became incredibly common. Xanax suppresses the central nervous system. Alcohol does too. Opioids do too. Together, they can slow breathing until the body simply stops. In many cases, users never intended to die. They were trying to sleep, trying to calm down, trying to disappear for a few hours. The numbers became staggering. In the United States, benzodiazepines were involved in thousands of overdose deaths every year. And unlike some drugs, Xanax dependency often developed in ordinary suburban environments: bedrooms, schools, college dorms, apartments. Not hidden alleyways or abandoned buildings. The users often looked completely normal. Students, athletes, office workers, parents. One of the most dangerous aspects of Xanax is how invisible the addiction can appear at first. Stimulant addictions often create visible energy or erratic behavior. Opioid addictions can physically deteriorate the body over time, but Xanax dependency frequently hides behind exhaustion, forgetfulness, and emotional numbness. Then withdrawal begins. Withdrawal from benzodiazepines is considered one of the most dangerous drug withdrawals in medicine. Heavy long-term users can experience seizures, hallucinations, paranoia, heart problems, and extreme panic. Some symptoms can last months or even years. Doctors call it benzodiazepine withdrawal syndrome. Many users simply call it hell. Unlike some substances, stopping suddenly can actually kill you. This trapped many people psychologically. The drug originally prescribed to reduce anxiety now created overwhelming anxiety when removed. Some users described feeling permanently altered by long-term use. Sounds became sharper. Light became unbearable. Sleep disappeared. Online communities filled with people documenting recovery journeys lasting years. At the same time, pharmaceutical companies faced increasing scrutiny over prescription practices in America. During the opioid crisis, many investigators started questioning how aggressively addictive medications had been distributed for decades. Xanax prescriptions remained widespread, even as awareness of dependency risks increased. But culture had already moved faster than regulation. A generation raised online had normalized chemical escape. Memes joked about forgetting entire weekends. Viral clips showed intoxicated teenagers stumbling through stores and classrooms. The language itself became casual. Bars, Xans, Pharmapram, ladders. What once sounded clinical now sounded trendy, and the music world kept amplifying it. Several artists publicly struggled with benzodiazepine addiction. Others died from accidental overdoses involving combinations of Xanax, fentanyl, alcohol, or opioids. Fans watched these deaths unfold in real time through live streams, tweets, police reports, and viral posts. For many young people, the drug became associated with sadness, exhaustion, and emotional collapse rather than rebellion. The symbolism changed. Older drug cultures often revolved around excess, partying, or aggression. Xanax culture felt emptier, more detached, less energetic. The aesthetics reflected it too. Dark bedrooms, late-night scrolling, emotional numbness, isolation. A generation increasingly raised through screens found a drug that muted everything those screens intensified. Fear, comparison, loneliness, pressure. And the timing mattered. During the 2000s and 10s, anxiety disorders among young people appeared to rise dramatically. Social media transformed adolescence into a constant performance. Every mistake became permanent. Every insecurity became measurable through likes, followers, and attention. Sleep patterns worsened. Isolation increased. Many young people described feeling permanently overstimulated. Xanax promised silence, for a few hours at least. Chemically manufactured silence comes with a cost. Tolerance develops, doses increase, memory fractures, emotional processing weakens. Some long-term users reported feeling disconnected from reality itself. Days blurred together, relationships collapsed, careers disappeared. And because Xanax was legal medicine, many people underestimated how dangerous it could become. The image of addiction in popular culture often centers around needles, homelessness, or visible physical collapse. Xanax addiction rarely looked like that in the beginning. Sometimes it looked like a college student sleeping through class, a friend slurring words at dinner, a co-worker forgetting conversations, a teenager locking themselves in their room for weeks. The drug spread quietly because the damage spread quietly first. And suddenly, a car accident, an overdose, a seizure, a funeral. Today, Xanax remains one of the most recognized psychiatric drugs in the world. Millions still use benzodiazepines medically and responsibly under supervision. For some patients, they genuinely improve quality of life. But the broader cultural story surrounding Xanax became something far larger than medicine. It became a mirror reflecting a generation overwhelmed by speed, noise, pressure, loneliness, and permanent connection. A generation searching for a way to shut its own brain off for just a little while. The teenager sitting in that Honda Civic in Florida eventually woke up hours later with no memory of how the night ended. His phone contained texts he didn't remember sending. His car had somehow moved 3 blocks away. He stared at the messages for several minutes trying to piece the night together. He wasn't unique. Millions of people experienced the same thing. Because the most dangerous part of Xanax was never just the chemical itself. It was how perfectly it fit the world that created it.